The restaurant's amber lighting cast soft shadows across white tablecloths as I adjusted my tie for the third time. Rebecca had insisted I look sharp for this dinner. Her boss, David Martinez, was celebrating a major account win, and spouses were invited. I'd met him twice before at company events. Smooth, charismatic, the kind of man who remembered everyone's name and made them feel important. "Relax," Rebecca whispered, squeezing my hand under the table. Her emerald dress hugged her curves, and I felt a familiar spark of pride. After 8 years of marriage, she still took my breath away. David held court at the head of the table, regaling us with stories about the negotiation. His wife Helen sat beside him, smiling patiently. She'd probably heard these stories before. 4 other couples from the marketing firm filled out the group, all dressed in their professional best, laughing at appropriate moments. The wine flowed freely. Rebecca shone in this environment, her quick wit and sharp insights earning nods of approval. I nursed my second glass, trying to contribute to conversations about market trends and quarterly projections. I worked in construction management. Different world, different language. "Another round?" David signaled the waiter, already pouring before anyone could decline. The mood grew looser. Helen excused herself to the restroom. That's when the atmosphere shifted subtly, like a key change in a familiar song. David leaned back, his gaze traveling around the table with an expression I couldn't quite read. "You know what I appreciate about our team?" he began. "Everyone brings something unique. Take Rebecca, brilliant mind, incredible instincts, and..." He paused, his eyes landing on my wife. "Impeccable taste in everything." Rebecca smiled politely, but I noticed her posture stiffen slightly. "Seriously though," David continued, his words beginning to slur at the edges, "it's the attention to detail that separates good from great. Rebecca, I've always wondered, do you bring that same meticulous approach to everything? Like, even down to..." He gestured vaguely. "What color underwear you choose?" The question hung in the air like smoke. My fork clattered against my plate. The conversations around us died instantly. Rebecca's face flushed crimson, not from embarrassment, but something else I couldn't identify. "Excuse me?" I heard myself say, my voice cold and foreign. David laughed, holding up his hands. "Whoa, just joking around, man. We're all friends here." "That's not a joke," I said, standing. My chair scraped against the floor. "That's disrespectful." "Jake, sit down," Rebecca hissed, her hand gripping my wrist. But I couldn't. The blood pounded in my ears. David's smirk, the way the other colleagues suddenly found their drinks fascinating, Rebecca's urgency for me to back down. It all crystallized into pure fury. "Apologize to my wife," I demanded. David's expression hardened. "I think you're overreacting." Everything happened fast. I moved around the table. David stood. My fist connected with his jaw with a crack that seemed to echo. He stumbled backward, knocking over a wineglass. Red liquid spread across the white tablecloth like blood. Chaos erupted. Someone grabbed my arms. Helen returned from the restroom screaming. But through it all, I only saw Rebecca's face. Not shocked, not grateful, but furious. Furious at me. "What the hell is wrong with you?" she shouted. That's when I realized she wasn't angry at him. She was angry at me for making a scene, for exposing something. The way her eyes darted to David, checking if he was okay, held more concern than any glance she'd given me all evening. We left in silence, the drive home stretching endlessly. The apartment felt smaller when we walked in. Rebecca kicked off her heels violently, one hitting the wall with a sharp thwack. I loosened my tie, my knuckles already beginning to swell. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" she rounded on me. "What I've done? Rebecca, he was drunk and stupid. You assaulted him, in front of everyone." Her voice cracked. I'll lose my job. Everything I've worked for. He disrespected you. I was defending. I didn't need defending. You have no idea how things work in that office. She paced the living room, hands in her hair. You made everything worse. I stared at her, really seeing her for the first time that night. The way she couldn't meet my eyes, the defensive stance. How long? I asked quietly. What? How long have you been sleeping with him? The color drained from her face. Jake, that's insane. You're paranoid. Am I? I moved closer. Your reaction tonight. The way you looked at him. The way you're more worried about his opinion than mine. How long, Rebecca? She turned away, wrapping her arms around herself. The silence stretched between us like a chasm. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely a whisper. It didn't mean anything. The words hit harder than any physical blow. I steadied myself against the back of the couch. Didn't mean anything, I repeated numbly. It happened. We worked late, there was chemistry, and... She turned back to me, tears streaming down her face. But it's over. It was already over. Tonight was just him being drunk. Over? He was asking about your underwear at a company dinner. That doesn't sound over. Because he's bitter. I ended it 2 weeks ago. He's been passive-aggressive ever since. My mind reeled. 2 weeks ago, while I'd been planning our anniversary trip, while I'd been picking out the diamond bracelet she'd hinted about, while I'd been falling asleep next to her every night, believing in us. How long? I repeated. She hesitated. 6 months. 6 months. Half a year of lies. Of her coming home late, smelling of wine and making excuses about client meetings. Of her distraction during conversations, her phone always face down on the table. All the signs I'd ignored because I trusted her. I need you to leave, I said calmly. Jake, please. Get out. This is my apartment too. Then I'll leave. I grabbed my keys and wallet, heading for the door. Where are you going? I paused at the threshold. Somewhere I can think. Don't call me. I drove to my brother's place across town, explaining nothing when he opened the door at midnight. He took one look at my face and handed me a beer, offering the couch without questions. I lay awake until dawn, watching the ceiling fan rotate, replaying every moment of the past 6 months in my mind. My phone buzzed constantly with calls and texts from Rebecca. I ignored them all. By morning, I'd made my decision. I wouldn't fight, wouldn't beg, wouldn't give her the satisfaction of seeing me broken. I would simply let go, remove myself from the equation, and let the consequences of her choices unfold naturally. Some betrayals are so deep that revenge becomes unnecessary. You just step aside and watch karma do its work. Monday morning, I returned to our apartment while Rebecca was at work. I packed systematically, clothes, toiletries, a few books. I left my wedding ring on the kitchen counter with no note. Words felt pointless now. My brother helped me move my things into a storage unit. You want to talk about it? He asked, loading the last box. Not yet. He nodded, respecting my boundaries. Couch is yours as long as you need it. I buried myself in work. Construction sites don't care about broken hearts. Concrete still needs pouring. Plans still need reviewing. Crews still need managing. The physical exhaustion helped. I'd returned to my brother's place, so tired I could barely shower before collapsing. Rebecca tried everything. Texts evolved from apologetic to desperate to angry. She showed up at my job site once. I had security escort her out. Her parents called, confused about why we'd separated. I told them to ask their daughter. What I didn't do was tell anyone the full story. Not my brother, not our mutual friends, not her family. I simply withdrew, offering no explanations, no accusations, just silence. The silence, I learned, was its own kind of weapon. 2 weeks after I left, my phone rang with an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. "Jake, it's Helen, David's wife." My stomach dropped. "Helen, I'm sorry about—" "Don't." Her voice was sharp. "I'm not calling for an apology. I'm calling because I found something, and I think you should know." She texted me screenshots, messages between David and Rebecca, dating back 7 months. The content made my skin crawl. Intimate details, plans to meet, discussions about me. One message from Rebecca stood out. "He suspects nothing. Poor Jake, so trusting." "There's more," Helen continued. "I confronted David. He confessed to multiple affairs. Rebecca wasn't special, just convenient. I'm filing for divorce, and I wanted you to have this evidence in case you need it." "Thank you," I managed. "One more thing. I forwarded everything to HR this morning. The company has strict policies about relationships between supervisors and subordinates, especially when kept secret. There will be an investigation." After she hung up, I stared at the screenshots for a long time. Part of me felt vindicated. Another part just felt hollow. That evening, Rebecca called from a different number. I almost didn't answer. "Jake, please. I need to talk to you." "What is it?" "I've been suspended from work, pending investigation. They know about David and me. Someone sent HR everything." Her voice broke. "I know it wasn't you, but I'm going to be fired. My career is over." I said nothing. "Please, can we talk, in person? I'm losing everything." "You lost everything when you betrayed us," I said quietly. "What happens now is just the aftermath." "I made a mistake." "For 6 months? That's not a mistake, Rebecca. That's a choice, multiple choices." "I love you," she sobbed. "You love security. You love the attention David gave you. You love comfort. But me? I don't think you ever loved me the way I deserved." I exhaled slowly. "Goodbye, Rebecca." I blocked the number. The investigation moved faster than I expected. Helen had been thorough, documenting not just the affair, but also instances where David had shown favoritism toward Rebecca in project assignments and promotions. The company, desperate to avoid a lawsuit, acted decisively. David was terminated within a week. His severance package was minimal given the violation of company policy and the potential legal liability. Helen got the house, primary custody of their kids, and most of their assets in the divorce settlement. Word spread quickly through their social circle, the details too scandalous to stay quiet. Rebecca lasted 2 more weeks under investigation before they let her go. No severance, no references, her professional reputation in tatters. In a field where network and reputation meant everything, she'd effectively blacklisted herself. She tried to reach me through mutual friends. Sarah, her best friend since college, called me one evening. "Jake, I know you're hurt, but Rebecca is falling apart. She lost her job, her marriage, everything. She needs to face the consequences of her actions," I interrupted. "I didn't cause this. She did." "But you could help her. You could at least talk to her." "Why?" The question hung between us. "So she can feel better about herself? So she can convince me it wasn't her fault? Sarah, she betrayed me for half a year. She called me poor trusting Jake in messages to her lover. She doesn't get my comfort now." "That's cold." "No, that's boundaries. I hope she finds her way, honestly, but it won't be through me." Sarah didn't call again. A month after I'd left, I sat across from a lawyer, signing divorce papers. Rebecca had contested nothing. She couldn't afford to. The apartment went to me since I'd made the down payment and kept up the mortgage. Our shared assets were divided equally, though there wasn't much to split. She's requested a meeting before the final decree, the lawyer informed me. You're under no obligation. Set it up, I said. She deserved to say her piece, and I needed closure. We met at a coffee shop, neutral ground. Rebecca looked different, thinner, with dark circles under her eyes. Her usual polished appearance was gone, replaced by jeans and a hoodie. She looked like someone I'd once known, but no longer recognized. Thank you for coming, she said softly, wrapping her hands around her cup. I nodded, saying nothing. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I just wanted you to know that I understand now what I threw away. She looked up, eyes red-rimmed. You were good to me, faithful, patient, kind. And I took that for granted. I don't know what I thought, that I could have both, that it wouldn't matter. It mattered. I know. A tear slipped down her cheek. David never cared about me. Helen showed me messages. He was sleeping with 2 other women from the company at the same time. I was just available and stupid, so incredibly stupid. I sipped my coffee, letting her continue. I've moved back in with my parents. I'm applying for jobs, but no one in marketing will touch me. The story got out, everyone knows. I might have to switch careers entirely. She laughed bitterly. 29 years old, starting over from scratch. That's not why I agreed to meet, I said quietly. She looked at me questioningly. I'm not here to gloat or to watch you suffer. I'm here because I need you to understand something. This, I gestured between us, wasn't about revenge. I didn't destroy your life. I just stopped protecting you from your own choices. I know. Do you? Because for months you made calculated decisions. Every lie, every late night, every time you came home and kissed me while thinking about him, those were choices, and choices have consequences. I'm sorry, she whispered. I believe you are. I believe you regret losing your career, your reputation, your comfortable life. I even believe you regret hurting me. I leaned forward. But I don't think you're sorry for the affair itself, just for getting caught. And that's the difference. She didn't deny it. We finished our coffee in silence. When we stood to leave, she touched my arm briefly. I hope you find someone who deserves you. I hope you find yourself, I replied. We walked out separately. I didn't look back. 6 months later, I stood in my newly renovated apartment, our old place, but transformed. New furniture, fresh paint, photographs of landscapes instead of wedding pictures. Every trace of Rebecca erased, replaced with something authentically mine. The divorce had been finalized. The legal documents arrived on a Tuesday, mundane and anticlimactic. I'd expected to feel something, relief, sadness, anger, but instead felt only neutral acceptance. It was done. Life moved forward. Work had been my salvation. I'd thrown myself into a major project, a sustainable housing development downtown. The challenge consumed me in the best way, leaving little room for dwelling on the past. My boss had noticed my dedication and hinted at a promotion. My brother's wife had tried setting me up on a few dates. I'd declined politely, not ready. Maybe soon, but not yet. I needed to be whole on my own first. Through mutual connections, I heard fragments about Rebecca's new life. She'd taken a job in her father's accounting firm. Nothing glamorous, but steady work. She'd started therapy. Moved into her own small studio apartment. From what I gathered, she was slowly rebuilding, though the shadow of her choices still followed her. David had moved to another city entirely. His marriage ended. His career damaged. I felt no satisfaction in his downfall, only a vague sadness for Helen and their children caught in the wreckage. One evening, I received a letter, handwritten, Rebecca's familiar script on the envelope. I almost threw it away unopened, but curiosity won. Dear Jake, I'm writing this not expecting a response, but because my therapist suggested closure requires honesty, real honesty, not the self-serving kind I specialized in. You were right about everything. I wasn't sorry for the affair, just the consequences. I was selfish, cowardly, and cruel. I convinced myself I deserved excitement, that our marriage had become boring, that you didn't understand me. All lies I told myself to justify the unjustifiable. The truth is simpler and uglier. I liked the attention. I liked feeling desired by someone powerful. I liked the thrill of the secret. And I never thought about you, really thought about you, until it was too late. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't even think I want it, because that would let me off the hook too easily. What I want is for you to know that I finally understand what I destroyed. Not just our marriage, but the good man who loved me despite my flaws. You deserve so much better. I'm working on becoming better. Not for you, not to win you back, but because looking at who I was disgusts me. It's slow and painful and humbling. Most days I'm not sure I'll succeed, but I have to try. I hope you found happiness. I hope you found someone who treasures you the way I should have. I hope you've forgiven yourself for whatever guilt you might carry. You did nothing wrong. You were the victim of my selfishness, and you handled it with more grace than I deserved. Thank you for the years you gave me. I'm sorry I wasted them. Rebecca. I read the letter twice, then filed it away in a drawer. Not as ammunition or a trophy, but simply as a document of a chapter closed. She was right. Forgiveness wasn't necessary. Understanding was enough. That weekend, I went hiking with my brother and his family. His kids ran ahead on the trail, laughing and chasing each other. The autumn air was crisp, the leaves brilliant golden red. You seem better, my brother observed. I am better. Ready to date yet? Because Rachel has this friend. Maybe, I said, surprising myself. Yeah, maybe. He grinned. That's progress. We reached a clearing with a view of the valley below. The city sprawled in the distance, tiny and manageable from this height. I thought about the past year, the betrayal, the anger, the slow rebuilding. How pain had carved out space for growth. How loss had taught me what I truly valued. Rebecca had wanted to save her marriage through lies and half measures. David had wanted his thrill without consequences. They'd both learned that you can't control every outcome, can't escape every price. Some actions, once taken, change everything irreversibly. I'd learned something too, that walking away doesn't make you weak, that silence can be more powerful than confrontation, that sometimes the best revenge is simply refusing to carry someone else's guilt. The affair, the dinner, the punch, the divorce, all of it felt distant now, like something that happened to a different version of me. This version was scarred but stronger, wounded but healing, alone but not lonely. Uncle Jake, my niece called from down the trail. Come see the cool rock we found. I smiled and headed toward her voice, toward family and simple joys and a future unencumbered by the weight of someone else's choices. The storm had passed. The rebuilding continued, and that was enough. The tent of hope was content Finjok,